Miguel was only 6 years old when his life changed forever. It was July 2011, and the intense heat of the Spanish summer filled the streets of Barcelona with tourists and families searching for amusement and relief. On that particular Sunday, Miguel's parents decided to take him to spend the day at Isla Fantasia, a popular water park beloved by children throughout the region. Miguel wore a striped t-shirt, denim shorts, and the blue cap his grandfather had given him shortly before he passed away. That cap was his lucky charm, and he never left home without it. The park was bustling, overflowing with crowds. Long lines formed at each attraction, and children darted in every direction, their laughter echoing above the music and splashes. Miguel played near the children's pool, watched alternately by his mother and father as they took turns keeping an eye on him. For a while, everything seemed perfect. A day full of promise, sun, and simple joys. But in the blink of an eye, everything changed. While his mother chatted briefly with a friend she'd unexpectedly met, and his father went to buy ice creams, Miguel vanished. It was a matter of minutes, an innocent, everyday moment that would haunt them forever. When his mother turned around, her son was gone. Panic gripped her immediately. She called his name, searching frantically around the pool, her voice rising above the din. She asked for help from park staff, who responded swiftly and professionally. Within 10 minutes, security had been alerted, exits were closed, and a thorough search was underway. Miguel's description was broadcast over radios. 6 years old, slender, light brown hair, wearing a blue cap and striped shirt. Yet it was as if he had disappeared into thin air, swallowed by the crowds and chaos. An hour later, hope gave way to dread when Miguel's blue cap was found tangled in a fence near a back exit, one that led directly into a busy road. The parents' hearts plummeted. The police were called and the search intensified. Helicopters circled overhead, dogs combed the grounds, and dozens of officers swept every corner of the park and its surroundings. But there was no sign of Miguel. In the days that followed, the smiling face of the missing boy appeared everywhere, on newspapers, billboards, and television screens across Spain. Social media campaigns spread rapidly, uniting strangers in the search. Volunteers joined the police in door-to-door canvassing, scouring train stations, bus terminals, and neighborhoods. Hours became days, days became weeks, and the family's despair grew heavier with each passing moment. False leads emerged and faded. Someone claimed to have seen a boy resembling Miguel at a train station in Madrid. Another reported a sighting in a distant village. Each tip ended in heartbreak. Inside their home, Miguel's family slowly unraveled. His father, tormented by guilt for having left to get ice cream, retreated into a shadowy silence. His mother, devastated, rarely left the house, spending her days watching old videos and flipping through photo albums, clinging to memories of her sons, laughter, and hugs. Miguel's room remained untouched, a silent shrine to hope, as if he might walk through the door at any moment. Yet something deep inside his mother refused to give up. She clung to the smallest signs, a vivid dream where Miguel called to her, a song he loved playing unexpectedly on the radio. Friends and relatives tried to be supportive, but over time, some gently suggested it was time to accept the worst. Still, she resisted. Miguel was strong, clever, and she believed with all her heart that he would find a way back. Then, in November, 4 months after Miguel's disappearance, a glimmer of hope pierced the darkness. The police received an anonymous tip. A nervous but clear voice reported seeing a child matching Miguel's description in a remote village deep in the Catalan countryside. There were few details, but it was enough to reignite the family's hope. The police acted swiftly. Undercover officers were dispatched to the village, quietly observing schools, playgrounds, and markets. After 2 days of careful surveillance, they spotted a boy who looked strikingly familiar. He walked beside a woman unknown to the investigators. The boy seemed thinner, paler, but his large brown eyes and shy demeanor were unmistakable. The blue cap was gone, but something about him was undeniable. The officers discreetly followed the pair to a small house on the outskirts of the village. After confirming that the woman was not the child's mother and that the boy matched Miguel's description, they decided to intervene. In a swift, silent operation, they entered the house. The woman tried to flee, but was quickly detained. Miguel, frightened and confused, was gently wrapped in a blanket by the officers, who spoke to him softly, trying to soothe his trembling. At first, Miguel could barely speak. He cried quietly, clutching the blanket as if it were a lifeline. With patience and gentle encouragement, the officers slowly gained his trust. Little by little, Miguel began to share fragments of his ordeal. He explained that a strange woman had approached him at the water park, promising ice cream and toys. Trusting and unsuspecting, he followed her. From that day, Miguel's world shrank to a small, isolated house. He was kept indoors, away from school and other children, forbidden to play outside. The woman told him he was her son now, insisting that no one else loved him. Whenever he begged to see his parents, she threatened him, warning that any attempt to escape would bring harm to his family. Fear gripped him, and he obeyed in silence. After medical and psychological evaluations, Miguel was moved to a safe shelter where specialists worked to help him feel secure again. News of his rescue spread quickly. His parents were notified, and a reunion was arranged. When his mother entered the room, Miguel hesitated, disbelief flickering in his eyes. Then, as recognition dawned, tears spilled down his cheeks, and he ran into her arms, sobbing uncontrollably. His father knelt beside them, holding them both tightly, as if afraid to ever let go again. The woman who kidnapped Miguel was identified as a former employee of the water park, dismissed months before the incident. Investigators uncovered evidence that she had planned the abduction carefully, studying the busiest times and searching for a child briefly separated from their parents. Her motive, though deeply disturbing, was heartbreakingly simple. She wanted a child of her own and decided to take one. During the trial, the woman tried to plead insanity, but testimony from neighbors and evidence gathered proved she was fully aware of her actions. She was sentenced to many years in prison for kidnapping and abuse. The verdict brought some relief to Miguel's family, though nothing could erase the terror and anguish of those lost months. Gradually, Miguel's life began to return to something resembling normalcy. The trauma, however, left deep scars. He became fearful of crowds, avoided parks, and grew anxious whenever his parents stepped out of sight. But with love, patience, and professional support, he started to heal. The blue cap, a symbol of his bond with his grandfather and the beginning of his ordeal, was carefully stored away in a box in his room, a reminder of all he had endured and overcome. Miguel's story touched hearts across the country. In rare, thoughtful interviews, his parents emphasized the importance of never losing hope, even when all seems lost. The pain of their ordeal never fully disappeared, but gratitude for their son's return filled the empty spaces left by fear. Years passed, and Miguel grew into a compassionate young man, dedicating his life to helping children at risk. He wanted to ensure that no child would ever have to endure what he had. He often said that no matter how dark the night, there is always a light waiting to be found. Miguel's journey is a powerful reminder that hope and love can triumph over even the darkest days. We must never underestimate the strength of a child's belief that one day they will return home, or the courage of a parent who refuses to give up.